Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, back out here at the wall tent today. And what I'm doing is I'm working on my comm setup. I'm trying to set up a different scheme of comms out here. I've been going step by step to try to get all of the versions of communications I can out here. And part of being self-reliant, being prepared, is understanding communications in an emergency. It's very, very important, and it may be more important even in days to come. So I try to practice it ahead of time. What I'm doing today is I'm trying to set up a program called Doozy that will allow me to talk digital voice through reflectors over what's called D-Star. You can look that up. And if you have a D-Star capable radio, you can do this too. I've got my ICOM ID52 out here and my ICOM IC705 out here. And this is my comm setup. And today I'm going to try to hook up to this program Doozy for reflectors to be able to talk anywhere in the world to people that are on these reflectors. And there's mounds of these reflectors. There's a huge list of them on the internet, on the D-Star website, for every country, for every kind of service, for every kind of club you can think of. But the one that I'm going to hook up to today is like the main mass reflector that a lot of people use worldwide. So I want to see if I can make a couple worldwide contacts today. Some DX, as you were, contacts outside the continental United States. So stay with me. We'll get started, guys.
Your Wi-Fi, connect to whatever you want to from there that's up and running at your place. But all right, I'll talk to you guys later. And
I messed up your call. I got the stuff at Victor November Hotel. Go ahead. Name here is John. We're up here near Chicago.
All right, very good. The call here is Whiskey
November 3, Yankee Delta. This is Kilo Echo 8, Sierra Papa Sierra. You copy?
The call sign is November 3, Yankee Delta, currently portable Kilo Papa 4, Puerto Rico.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm also mobile, kind of a stationary situation in a wall tent with ICOM 705 and ID52, running Doozy on the ID52 against a Windows machine, just trying to see if I was getting out there and making contacts.
Working on kind of the same thing, fighting with the internet down here, and looks like I finally got it up and going. See my first contact from Puerto Rico.
Buddy, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You're in Puerto Rico, you say? That's awesome. What I'm doing with mine, just to give you kind of a heads up, I'm doing something I've never seen anybody else do.
And with the local hotspot here at the house, and I wasn't getting either one to work, but I don't know, just all of a sudden everything started coming up and working, and it looks like we're on the air, so I'm not going to complain.
Me either. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the contact. Kilo Echo 8, Sierra Papa Sierra. I'm out. Okay, so that was a contact with Puerto Rico from the wall tent. And I've kind of got this set up in a way that I haven't seen anyone do on the internet. There's a guy, I think his name's Malcolm maybe, or Malk, from the UK, that's done a lot of stuff with this program called Doozy. That's a D-Star program. So if you've got a D-Star capable radio, like an IC705 or an ID52, you can connect via internet to this program called Doozy. That's a free program out there. I'll put a link to it in the bottom of this video. And you can, it has to be a Windows machine. For some reason, a lot of this stuff with ICOM doesn't seem to be very compatible with Apple, iOS, Mac stuff. I don't know why. I'm a Mac guy, but it doesn't seem to be real compatible that way. However, if you got a Windows machine, even a cheap one like the Surface Pro or something like that, and I bought this one refabbed for like $300, you got something like that, it'll work just fine for you. You can carry it around with you mobile when you go. We'll talk more about my mobile setup as we go, but what I wanted to talk to you about today was this setting up this Doozy kind of on the fly. You can use this real easy in your house if you have an internet connection. What I couldn't figure out a way to do was use it on the fly, like in the wall tent out here at the Hunters Camp. And the reason for that is that somebody else checking into that same reflector and is informing me that they're on the reflector. Now, and I can choose to talk back to them or not talk back to them, basically. But they're not calling me. They're just letting people know they're there by keying up their mic, and that lets people know they're on that reflector. So what I'm trying to accomplish with this is, and what I tried to do today, and I finally figured out, let me turn this down. And again, I haven't seen Malk do this, and he's done a lot of videos on this whole Doozy program thing. But it allows you to talk to people all over the world very, very easily because it's actually internet driven through reflectors. So the point of this whole thing is if you've got an ICOM 705, you understand that it has an internal Wi-Fi. It has a WinLAN connection. That's an internal hotspot. However, it's not internet capable. It's just a hotspot. So you still have to be hooked to an internet service somewhere. So what I tried to do was I hooked my hotspot on my iPhone to my computer and hooked to that internet. So I'm using the internet off my phone to run my computer, and then ran Doozy through that, and it's working just fine. It's working like a dream. You can see people talking on here right now. I just talked to a guy in Puerto Rico. So that setup works like a dream. So what that gives me is a lot of versatility out here, from data to WinLink to Doozy to, live talk radio on different frequencies, depending on the antennas that I have. I have a 2 meter, 70 centimeter radio, obviously handheld here with the ID52, but I also have the 705 that's capable of doing that, as well as HF. The difference is, the handheld I can walk away with really easy, and now I can have one set up in one configuration and the other one set up in a different configuration to be doing multiple things at the same time, or communicating or hearing communications from multiple areas. And both of them are weather channel capable as well by one flick of a switch, so I can get weather alerts automatically as well and set it up to give me weather alerts while it's on and override everything else with a weather alert. So what I'm trying to get to with this whole thing is I'm kind of wanting to show you guys a little at a time how versatile this ham radio technology can be. Everything from voice to, talking through repeaters, talking through reflectors, talking online, talking over distance, like with WinVera, like I did last year in the wall tent, where you're actually sending text messages over radio frequency. So there's no internet involved in it whatsoever. You don't need any internet to do that. There's lots and lots of versatility with this that you can't get with regular FRS or GMRS. You just can't get it. You can get APRS, things like that sometimes with some of the other stuff, I believe. I'm not real hot on those topics yet. I'm still fairly new at this. I've only had my license for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half. And I've only been messing with this for about that long. But I've got a lot of good mentors, Josh from Ham Radio Crash Course, some other local guys I've talked to, and some people in local clubs I've talked to. So there's lots of people out there willing to help you if you're interested in this stuff. But this is one of the reasons that I insisted every instructor at the Pathfinder School be ham radio licensed. And, you're going to have a lot of people on the comments are going to be like, well, I don't want to get a license. I don't want to tell the government all my information. I don't want my address posted out there where people can get it. I understand that. But the thing with that is, it's kind of the double-edged sword of, if you don't have a ham license, you're really not supposed to be talking on those frequencies. Can you do it in an emergency? Yes. So you might say, well, I don't need a license to talk. If it's an emergency, I'm just going to use it. And you can. But that's almost like not practicing a bow drill fire before you need it. To be able to practice ham radio and get used to everything you can do with it, you need a ham radio license to be able to do that legally. If you don't have it, you can still use it during an emergency, no matter what. Nobody's going to say anything about that. Hey, I need help, and this is where I'm at, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't know all the intricacies of how to use it and communicate with other people, you may not be able to get that message out when you need to. Just like if you don't practice a bow drill fire beforehand, you may not be able to get it when you actually need it. So it's no different with ham radio and things like that. And I wanted to bring you some of these videos today, and we'll kind of walk through the setup of this and how I did it real fast in case you're interested. It's really not difficult at all, but we'll talk about it really fast. And then we will, cut to the chase and get off the video. But I wanted to show you guys this setup. So what I'm running right here is I've got an external battery pack over here with a Bio-NO battery in it that's 12 volts that I can charge with the solar panel that I've got over here sitting off to the side. I have the Power Film Solar, which is also a 12 volt system, but will charge anything USB, USB-C as well. So I've got that portable system. This one has a built-in solar panel in it. We've talked about this on video before. I've got a Bio-NO solar panel for this Bio-NO battery that I can charge it with. I've got a charge regulator right here that tells me when the battery's charged, where it's at, make sure it doesn't overcharge, all that kind of stuff. And I can run all of these things off of that little bit of equipment right there. From the IC705 I've got up here to the ID52. I've got an external speaker. I've got a tuner for my antenna. Not that I really need it, but I'm running a Wolf River coil right now, and I have problems getting it tuned in real good at, 1.5 to 1 or less. So I hit the tuner on it anyway, just in case, for 20 and 40 meters. And then I've got my Surface Pro up here, and all of these things can be charged and ran just off these two small power banks that I've got right here, the one battery and the one power brick right here with the power film solar. So it's a really good system. We'll talk more about that as we go. But this is the radio ops that I'm running in this wall tent that gives me the versatility to do everything from voice to internet to D-Star, digital things like WinLink, and internet related things like WinLink, all the way to WinVera, FT8, JS8 call. I can do every bit of that with this equipment right here from this tent, and it makes it a very, very good, convenient mobile system. All right, so you can see my iPhone sitting right here, and I'm hooked up to the hotspot on that phone with my internet here, because we have to have internet. So we're connected and secured here with iPhone 2. We've got the Doozy program pulled up, which the icon for that's right here. I've pulled it up. I've turned it on. I've connected to a reflector. I've got a USB-C cable here going to a USB mini right here in the ID52, and it's set up in terminal mode, ready to rock and roll. And you can use it without the cable, without the Doozy program, and still talk D-Star. And the same thing with the 705. This just gives you the ability to go through major reflectors and plug into them really, really quickly, automatically with the computer program. It's a really, really good program, but it only runs on Windows. So anyway, having that cable is important. You have to have that cable, even if you're running that through the IC705, you'd have to have that cable connected anyway for data transfer. However, the fact that I can leave my 705 in HF mode and have HF conversation, HF listening, things like that, and still use the ID52 as a D-Star or digital voice system with these reflectors gives me just that much more versatility. All right, guys, listen, I appreciate you joining me out here today for this video on a little bit about my communication setup out here at the wall tent. We'll put this in this wall tent series, and I think it's a good primer video for some of the ways that you can set up a mobile communications outfit in something as small as a wall tent to be able to do lots and lots of versatile types of communications in an emergency. So I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.